Oh, Dolphins fans, what's happening? I figured I would like to get on here um, and do some mock drafts, just a few. A lot of people are doing it, and I feel like we're close enough now to the draft where mock drafts are a little more feasible. Um, I'm not expecting anything to happen in free agency up to from now to the point where the draft is happening on Thursday. So I feel like now is a little bit more of a realistic time to look at mock drafts and see what it's going to look like. I mean, nobody's going to be able to nail it perfectly, exactly how this is going to work out, but we can still take a look at them, go through them, and now that we know exactly what we have for needs going into the draft, as we're close enough, it makes a little more sense to go through it. So those of you that are here, thanks for coming in. As people trickle in, we'll get started here. When you're in here, make sure to throw a like down. It helps get more people to see it and all that good junk. I've got a snowball game going on from a few years ago. It's Dolphins and Steelers. It was a heck of a game. I was watching it earlier this morning. So draft is on Thursday. I'm going to try like crazy to make it to where I can be live streaming during the draft. It just depends on if I can get done with work early enough. Obviously, this is not my job. This is a hobby. So I still have to go out and drive a truck. So if I can get done early enough with the day, then I'll be live streaming for the draft. And I'm really hoping I can, because I'm really excited about this draft. I want it to work out the way it's supposed to. And this draft is different because most of the time a team will have needs, and especially teams that are in more trouble like the Dolphins are right now with their roster. It's so rare that the draft actually lines up perfectly with the things that they need. And this draft does line up for the Miami Dolphins, so it gives us a little bit of that hopium that everybody talks about. And I know that it's sad times right now for Miami Dolphins fans with everything that's going on, and I'm with you there. But during the draft, it allows us to be hopeful a little bit. Maybe these players that we pick up won't work out in the beginning of this year, but it does give us something to hope and look forward to, that maybe we can have something magical happen with some of these players. Maybe, the hope that some of these players might end up being, all pros or Pro Bowlers or Hall of Famers even. You never know. It's one of those things. It's a crapshoot for every team with who they pick. Yes, we have stats and ratings and rankings for all these players, but you just don't know until they start showing up on the field the following year in the NFL. And we're looking at this draft. This is important for Miami. It doesn't get any more important than this draft does for a football team as it is for the Miami Dolphins. I mean, it's insane. So we have needs, and I've narrowed it down to, our needs for the starting rosters for offense and defense, the things that we absolutely have got to have out of this draft. And that list of players, we need 7 people. Need to draft 7 players in a certain way. Those 7 people that we need to draft, we need 2 cornerbacks, 2 interior defensive tackles, 2 offensive guards, and 1 safety. We have got to get those players in this draft. Do they have to be starters? Not necessarily. But we need them to be able to be contributors pretty quickly. Maybe not immediately, but they need to be able to contribute. And at the very least, they need to show that they have the ability to grow. Next week before the draft, probably Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to put out a video about the need for growth. And it's going to be talking about the players that are on the team right now that we need to grow. We need to improve. We need them to make steps this year. I mean, I'm sure, as I said that, you guys have already got some people in your mind about who needs to be growing and doing better. So, I mean, don't get too stressed out about it. But that video is going to be coming out Monday or Tuesday, and it's going to be what we need from certain players on the roster right now and how they can grow, improve, take steps forward. Those are things that we're going to have. That'll be a good video. It's going to be out Monday or Tuesday, so be looking for that. I have begun my shadow box jersey conversions. So I've had these jerseys hanging up on my wall for a long time, and I've just started doing my shadow boxes. And I don't know, you can see the two that are over there. I've put them in their shadow boxes, and then I've put their some cards with them in their boxes. They're pretty cool. I think I'm going to do it with all my jerseys. So I'll pull the ones out of my closet, put those in there too. It's going to look pretty freaking sick. I'm happy with how they turned out. The one on the top, the Ted Ginn one that I have above my head, that Ted Ginn jersey is one of his rookie jerseys. And the card that you can't really see that's in there too is one of his rookie cards. Really sick. I'm happy how it turned out. So I'm going to have more of those going up as time goes by. The next one I'm going to do is Ronnie Brown, but I have to get his rookie card still. I'm working on that. And I'll just keep going through it. That one down there at the bottom underneath Ted Ginn, that's Dan Marino. That not his rookie jersey. It's an alternate black jersey. Super sick jersey. It was kind of sad to put it in the box because then I'm never going to wear it again. But, oh well. So we need 2 corners. We need 2 interior defensive tackles. We need 2 offensive guards, and we need a safety. We've got to pick up those players in this draft. Like I said, they don't have to be starting caliber, but we do need players that show some moxie and some ability to take steps forward and improve. We don't need players that are like Cam Smith or Liam Eichenberg. We need players that are able to step up and contribute. Maybe not start, but contribute. And yes, I am far less concerned about our safety room than I am about our cornerback room. Our cornerback room needs lots of help. Think of it this way. Our entire backfield on defense is going to be new this year. Do we have some pieces at the safety position? Yes, we do. We have some good pieces. I still feel like we need one more minimum. But we have good pieces in the safety room to start taking that over and making it their own. As far as the cornerback room goes, we are dry. We're empty. We have Cater and we have Storm Duck. I mean, there's other players, but those are the only 2 that contributed last year and played serviceably. Everybody else has left a lot to desire. So, we got some work to do there. So with those needs, that's 7 players. We have 10 draft picks. And I've put out a few mock drafts here and there for this. Not once have I done a mock draft where I've accepted trades. And now I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at the trades, and if it's something that actually tickles my fancy, I'm going to take it so that you guys can kind of see what that's going to do, because likely the trade situations are going to be moving back in the first round and picking up more in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. So we'll go through it. We'll do it together. I'll show you guys what I'm planning on doing. If you have any comments, please comment. Talk to me. Tell me what you guys think about these picks that I'm about to do. And make sure to throw a like down. If you're new, subscribe. Check me out. I mean, put out 2 or 3 videos a week. Just started bringing guests onto my channel. That's a new part of this. I'm getting better at the whole editing and running a stream thing. It's been a challenge, especially for somebody like me, a stupid Alaskan who never even had a computer until 10 months ago. This is all new to me. So, and everything that you see here on this screen is stuff that I've done and I've worked pretty hard on it, so hopefully it's palatable to the eyes. All right, so let's get over here and start this process of going through this draft. Let me set this up here. 7 rounds. We'll go fast mode. Okay, I think we're ready to go. We'll run through this first draft, and we'll go from there. And here we go. And already we get trade offers. There's 3 here. See, this takes us out of the first round, and I'm not even gonna eyeball that. We need a pick in the first round. Can't really accept these These aren't very good. Nah, we'll skip it. And that the only reason that's like that is because Ashton Gianti is available. Look at that. Shedeur Sanders is also available. Holy cow. Let's see what happened here. Ward to the Titans. Travis Hunter went to the Browns. Abdul Carter went to the Giants. That's weird. It's not something I would have thought. Will Campbell is off the list. He went to the Patriots. Tyler Warren to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mason Graham to the Raiders. Membu to the Jets. That's no surprise. McMillan went to Arizona. Or to the Panthers. Will Johnson went to the Saints. Wow. Interesting. This is going to be an interesting one. Now, we do have Kelvin Banks here. I'm not even going to look at these two. These are not something we need. Ashton Gianti and Shedeur Sanders is not anything this team needs. We do have, now this is interesting. Okay, so we have Derek Harmon sitting here. And Derek Harmon would be a fantastic fit for this offense. It's not too much of a reach. I don't think Kelvin Banks is the right answer for us. Mainly for the switching position thing is not good. I really don't want to do that. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Derek Harmon in the first round. And start beginning immediately. I'm addressing these needs that we have. That's one interior defensive tackle we've taken care of. Look at that. Jackson Dart's available. Oh, the guy that I like's there. Kenneth Grant's still there too. At 38. Well, that's a no-brainer. So defensive tackle, we've picked up the two that we need for defensive tackle, and those guys will be contributors pretty quick, I think. I'm rejecting these. These are not good trade offers. I'm not sure what. This is my first time using Pro Football Sports Network's draft thing. I'm not too impressed with it. I might end up switching over to the other one here soon. Let's see. Oh. So I've got Derek Harmon and Kenneth Grant. Immediately that bolsters the defensive line and does a pretty darn good job of it. Cam Williams is available. Charles Grant out of William and Mary. Both those offensive tackles, those would be worthwhile to look at. But I think for me, I'm looking at Billy Bowman here. Yeah, man. I'm thinking Billy Bowman. And we're going into the fourth round. The Eagles want our 116th pick, and they want to give us the 134 and the 148. I'm going to accept that. I'm going to reject that from the Titans. I don't want that trade. So, we still need to address guards and safety, or guards and corners. And we're definitely going to need the corners that we have on the team to step up this year. I have no doubt in my mind that Storm Duck is going to step up and make even more steps progressing in his abilities. But I am concerned about the others, Cam Smith especially. I just don't know how he's going to improve or if he even has the freaking ability to. That's the worst part about it. I'm going to go Garrett Dellinger from LSU. Good offensive guard. And now, Let's see. I think we'll go Corey Black. Decent cornerback. Probably wouldn't be a starter. He could, though. I mean, he's one of those guys that's getting better every year he plays, and that's one thing that I'm really, really looking for out of these players. Is players that actually show some uptick, some ability to improve. That's the huge part. And we're on pick 148. Dylan Gabriel's available at quarterback, but I'm not looking quarterback right now because I'm not stupid. We'll go Luke Kandra from Cincinnati. That's a player that I've been watching, and I still think that he deserves to be way higher than he's rated in these drafts. He's got a lot of promise. So now we're at the point where we really, really, really need a cornerback. And like I said, this isn't the end of the world. You know, we don't have to get the best of every position, but we need to improve. I know we need cornerback, and I know we need a safety. But looking at that offensive line and our defensive line, if we improve those positions, everything else gets easier for the other players on the team. And it's simple. Defensive line and offensive line is what wins games. And we need to stay on top of that. So this is a point where I'm looking, and I see Fadil Diggs here, and we don't necessarily need an edge rusher, but I like Fadil Diggs, and I also like J.J. Peggs. He's a defensive tackle from Ole Miss, and if you guys have watched any of his games, he's amazing. He's another one of those players that can play a lot of different positions on the defensive line. Has the ability to play high level football at all those different positions. He's got a good first step. He's got good hands. I mean, it's not like he's a top 5 draft pick by any means, but he has a lot of promise, and he has those intangibles and those things that you can't necessarily. You can't just teach somebody who can't do those things. You can't teach him to do some of the things that he can do. He has it just naturally. He's got that ability. Yeah, we're gonna go Fadil Diggs. That is not something I'm interested in, really. Nah. Actually, you know what? Let's take that. Let's take that trade. That's not a bad trade. That gives us a better 7th round. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, guys. We're back to it. I am on pick 159. Oh, where are we at here? Are any of my guys that I'm trying to watch for showing up yet? Nope, they're still down the line. Kyle McCord's still sitting there. I wonder if I should grab McCord. Let's take McCord. Draft a quarterback every single draft. Always draft one quarterback. Make that happen. Got to. Ty Robinson's available. That would be a good pickup, especially in the later rounds here. Now here's a good question. Do you guys like Jalen Smith or Upton Stout better at cornerback? Upton Stout is more of a man coverage type of guy, and Jalen Smith is more zone. And he can play all positions on the field. Jalen Smith can. He can play slot too. And I'm kind of thinking he might be a better pick just because he's got that availability to do multiple different things. Let's go with him. We took Jalen Smith there. Ty Robinson is still available. That's tempting. Jeffrey Boss is tempting too. Tyler Batty's still sitting there out of BYU. Man, that's a tough one. I'm really torn on this one. This is a tough pick here. You got you got Jeffrey Bassa, and you got Kobe King sitting here at linebacker, and I'm half tempted to take a linebacker here. Yeah, we'll go Jeffrey Bassa. Get some Oregon players on this team. Last pick for this draft. Now, we've already addressed most of the needs, and we've done a pretty decent job at it. So I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, man, we should probably grab something cool. Maybe a little bit of candy for this draft. And looking at some of these guys, Ja'Cory Brooks is kind of one of those guys that's got that playmaking ability. He's big, good hands. He goes up and gets the ball. That's kind of what we need. Maybe we should grab Ja'Cory Brooks. Let's do that. All right, so there's our draft. We grabbed 2 defensive tackles in the first 2 rounds of the draft, which is different, but that happened because they had some weird things happen in there. Will Johnson was gone. All the players that I thought we might have a chance to grab in that first 2 rounds were pretty much gone, so I had to do different things. So I went with Derek Harmon and Kenneth Grant. Now, that's the first time I've done a mock draft where I ended up with both those players available, and I took them both. Doing that, though, that gives us an immediate contribution from both those players. Those guys both will be playing in our games if they ended up on our team. There would be no doubt about that in my mind. Billy Bowman is a great safety out of Oklahoma. I think that's a great pick too. I was disappointed in this draft that I didn't get a chance to grab a guard before the 4th round, but ended up getting both guards from 134 to 148. Garrett Dellinger and Luke Kandra. Luke Kandra, I'm super excited about if this ends up happening. That would be fantastic. Corey Black is a good quality cornerback out of Oklahoma State. Plays the edge very well. Good size, speed. I'm happy with that. Fadil Diggs, the edge rusher out of Syracuse. Now, like I said, this is one of those things where I grabbed a couple players here at the end of the draft because we've pretty much taken care of our needs, especially since I grabbed Jalen Smith at pick 198. And that gives us, essentially that gives us 4 picks, 150, 159, 224, and 253, that we could kind of draft some things that we don't necessarily need right off the bat, but could be good to have. We got our 3rd-string quarterback, Kyle McCord. We got edge rusher Fadil Diggs, and I like Fadil Diggs. I think he'd fit in nicely with Miami's style of defense. Maybe not be a contributor right off the bat, but he's one of those players that could grow, and definitely I think learning behind our edge room would be a good thing for him. Yeah, that's what I thought too. And then we go through this. That's what I was saying. This mock draft simulator for Pro Football Sports Network, I have never seen a mock draft where Kenneth Grant was still available in the 2nd round. This was the first time. But I said I was going to play through it. I played through it. Having Derek Harmon and Kenneth Grant, nobody should be able to complain about that. That would be fantastic news to have those 2 defensive tackles joining our team, especially in such an empty defensive tackle room. That's great news. Yeah, Clayton, I noticed that too. That's why I was wondering. But that did give us, with the other things that we've addressed, that gave us the ability to pick up an edge rusher, to pick up a 3rd-string quarterback. And Kyle McCord's no slouch. I think that he could grow and become a decent quarterback in the NFL. Beyond that, I really don't know about him. I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything more than that. I don't hate my 224 pick, Jeffrey Bassa. It is what it is. It's an opportunity to grab somebody to kind of add some depth to the linebacker room. And like I said, these 7th-round picks here, Ja'Cory Brooks at the wide receiver out of Louisville, I do like his size and his playmaking ability, his hands, his ability to go up and get the ball. but he very well might not get much play time. But if we have a receiver like that, having him in the game for those deep ball moments, you could have Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle in the slot and put him on the outside, a big receiver. That gives you some double threat mentality there where you have your speedsters tearing up the middle of the field and you have two guys rushing down the sidelines that are able to go up and get a 50-50 ball. That was kind of my logic for Ja'Cory Brooks. Jeffrey Bassa, I think he has the ability to play at this level of the NFL, but who knows? But he's a 7th round pick, so you can't really hate on it. I think that overall that's a pretty decent draft. That's 11 picks on this draft because we did accept that one trade offer, or actually it was 2. But not too bad, not too bad. Let's restart this and try this again and see if we end up seeing that happen again with with both those defensive tackles showing up in the second round. That was nuts. Let's see what they do this time. Will Johnson went at the. He went early again too this time. I don't know. As far did you? Oh, you said yeah. Will Johnson's speed. I don't know. It's not like he's the fastest person on the field, but he does make up for that speed with his first and second steps and his ability to change directions. Like he's game speed, like playing the game speed. It's much faster. He processes super fast too. His decision making is second to none, especially in this draft. I like him. It's not his speed isn't necessarily a concern of mine. I realize some people might think he needs to be faster or whatever, but not so much for me. Let's look at this. I have one trade offer, and I'm not going to accept that. That's lame. Shedeur Sanders is there again for us. Now, see, this is the thing. If Shedeur Sanders is available for us at pick 13, you'd think there'd be a lot of teams calling, and there's just not much trade offers here for him. At least nothing that's worth keeping. Kelvin Banks is available again. Matthew Golden's still there. I don't think Matthew Golden is going to be there for us at 13. I don't think we should take him either way, but with Matthew Golden and Shedeur Sanders available at 13, players would be jumping all over that. Or other teams would be jumping all over that to try to get a hold of us. Derek Harmon's there again. I think I'm going to end up going with Derek Harmon again. Oh, no, we're not going to do that. We got Nick Amenwori, Malachi Starks, Jahdae Barron sitting there. Ooh, that's a tricky one. This is tough because none of those players are going to be here by the time we get to our next pick. None of them's going to be there at pick 48. Walter Nolan's still there. I love Walter Nolan. He's one of my favorite players in this draft. Man, there's a lot of good players that aren't going to be here. And that's the thing, is I really don't see us ending up with Walter Nolan as much as I do like him. This is tricky. Super tricky. I'm not, and a lot of people like him. I'm not a big fan of Kelvin Banks for our play system, especially with having to move him to guard. I'm not a fan of it. I know he did say that he wouldn't be against moving to the guard position, but I'm just not all about it. For me personally, this pick is between Jahdae Barron and Derek Harmon for our first round pick. I'm probably going to end up going. Well, I took Derek Harmon last time. Let's go Jahdae Barron this time and see how this plays out. Took a cornerback round 1. They want to give us 2026 picks. Yeah, I'm good on that. We're not going to do those. Okay. Walter Nolan's available at 48. Well, that makes this pick easy for me. And like I said, As far as Kenneth Grant goes, he's available too. See, this is tough because I do think Walter Nolan is probably capable of having a better career than Kenneth Grant. That might just be me saying that, but I'm going Walter Nolan. I'm doing it. Walter Nolan in the 48th pick. I get my favorite player in the draft right there. Now, that's not bad. Let's take that. Let's accept that trade. We give the 49ers our 98th pick, and they give us the 100th pick and the 252. We're going to reject that, and we're going to reject that. So we just snagged an extra pick for trading back 2 spots on our 90th pick, which would be, I think, 100 now. We were 98. So that's not a bad deal. And especially considering Dorian Strong is sitting there. Ooh, this is tough. All right, there's 3 players I'm looking at here that I would be okay with. Will Howard's available too. Ooh, it's tough. I'm looking at Charles Grant. I'm looking at Dorian Strong, and I'm looking at Deion Walker. Those are all players that would benefit us very much. Ah, boy. Let's go Deion Walker. Yeah. Deion Walker's done. I have the guy I wanted. Yes, it worked out. Okay. So at cornerback, and we could go Jonas Sanker. He is no slouch. Jonas Sanker is no slouch, ladies and gentlemen. He's really, really, really good against the run. I wanted to make sure he was the right guy that I was thinking of. He's really, really, really good against the run. Very instinctual player. Has an ability to change direction very well. Doesn't have the super high top speed. But, like I said, as a safety, your first 2 or 3 steps are way more important than 4.3 speed. So you have Jonas Sanker. Everybody knows the deal with Kobe Bryant. I like him a lot. He would work out well. Also, Miles Frazier is sitting there too. Ooh, that's tough. Oh, man, that's hard. And if I'm looking at this, and I scroll down here to 116-ish. Yeah, okay. So that helps a little bit. There's plenty of guards left, that players on offensive line that we wanted that'll be available from 116 to about 150. I'm really concerned about the cornerback room. We're going to go ahead and get Kobe Bryant here. So we've addressed 2 cornerbacks and 2 defensive tackles right off the bat, 2 things that we desperately needed. This is not necessarily... Ooh, they're tricking me here. That would give us that would be a really good trade to get out that 253 and get that 169. And we would have to drop roughly 24 picks in that next round on 135. We got to go to 159. Let's reject that for now. So now we're sitting here at 135. We have the 150 and the 155. So at this point, we really need to start looking offensive line and safety. R.J. Mickens is there. That's a no-brainer. We'll go R.J. Mickens. So now we're in offensive line mode, offensive guards specifically. Now that we are into this part of the draft, we're in round 5, and we got 2 pretty close together here. Luke Kandra's there. We're taking him again. That's a no-brainer. Luke Kandra is a good guard, and he'll transition well into the NFL for sure, especially with the way we run the zone reads and the zone scheme on offense. Luke Kandra will work out very, very well for us. Seth McLaughlin's available there. He's the center out of Ohio State. I like him. He could work out very well for us. Jake Majors is there too at 170 on the rankings. Oh boy, oh boy. What are we looking at here? Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Riley Leonard. We're going to go ahead and grab our quarterback in the 5th right there with that extra 5th round pick that we picked up there or traded, for a little bit lower. Take advantage of that. Like I said, I'm going to be trying to grab a quarterback every draft. And that hopefully our team should be thinking the same thing. Not in the first few rounds, but 5th, 6th, 7th round, grab a quarterback every time. Got to. Ty Hamilton's available. Ooh, that's a good player. Another one of those guys that's ranked way lower than he performs. What's up, Cap? How you doing, buddy? Trying to look at this draft, man. See how easy this is to go through this. This is the second time I'm going through this mock draft and looking at it. Cap, I'm thinking 2 corners, 2 interior defensive tackles, 2 offensive guards, and 1 safety are things that we have got to get in this draft. So I'm basing my entire draft off of needing those players to be filled. And I'm also going with the grab a quarterback in every draft in the 5th to 7th round at least. So grab my quarterback, got Riley Leonard. I'm happy with that. And right now I'm thinking, so right now we're sitting at Jahdae Barron, Walter Nolan, Deion Walker, Kobe Bryant, R.J. Mickens, Luke Kandra, and Riley Leonard. And I was kind of hoping, since I am at the 155th pick, I was hoping to find another offensive lineman, but it looks like we're getting some slim pickings right now. There are options, just not quite exactly what I was thinking was going to happen there. Let's see. I do like Jeffrey Bassa. I picked him in that first mock draft I just did. And sitting here looking at him, I'm thinking, man, it would be nice to grab him again. And Ty Hamilton, too. Kobe King's there. Dang. I don't know why Lindenberg is ranked above Jeffrey Bassa. We're going Bassa again. He's there. I'm taking him. It's not necessarily a heavy need, but he has certain intangibles that a lot of the players that we have on this team don't have at that linebacker position. So I think he'd be a good addition to this team. One of those players that would definitely wind up there. So we're at 231 now. We got 3 picks left. We have pretty much addressed our needs. I would like to find one more offensive lineman in this draft, but only if it makes sense, because at this point, drafting that one offensive guard, Luke Kandra, he is a good guard, and he will see playing time. He's going to be ranked above most of the players we have on this team at guard. Most. Especially Liam Eichenberg. I guarantee you Luke Kandra will start over Liam Eichenberg. But thinking about that, we do have a lot of good guards available in free agency still. And like I said, a lot of those players that are holding off on decisions, they're going to make their decisions as soon as the draft is over. And if we came out of the draft with only one offensive guard, I guarantee you players like Will Hernandez and Dalton Risner would want to come to this team because they think they would have a good chance at starting. And they want to start. So that's something to think about here as we're looking at the rest of these players. So we don't necessarily have to go offensive guard with this next pick. We have options. It would be good to add to the running back room. I don't like LaQuint Allen. I don't think he fits well with that zone read scheme that we run here in Miami. However, you scroll down here a little tiny bit and you see Raheem Sanders. And Raheem Sanders would be one of those guys that I like. He had some injuries, but like I said, it doesn't mean anything. He's recovered. He's going to be fine. The dude has got home run speed, and he's one of those guys that seems to fall forward for like 8 yards. He's not one of those players that's going to get you 1 or 2 yards every time. He's a chunk runner. And the way he has his shiftiness, that's the kind of player you need for a zone read type of scheme, like with what Miami does. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Raheem Sanders there. Plus, I love me some Heem, and I need a Heem on this team. And since we lost Raheem Mostert, we need to add another Heem. We need Raheem Sanders. That's what we needed. I'm happy now. I got some Heem. Look at all those safeties available right there in that big pile right up off the top. Good grief. Christian Lichtenhand's there. Good old German. Wouldn't be bad to have a German on the offensive line. Jackson Woodard's still available. I like Jackson Woodard. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to go Lichtenhand. He's an offensive tackle, but he would translate well over to guard if we needed him. And like I said, it doesn't hurt to have a couple extra linemen. This 6th and 7th round, those are when you really want to make sure you're bolstered up with offensive linemen. A lot of good offensive linemen come out of the 6th and 7th round. Sometimes players don't translate, sometimes they do, and a lot of times that's why they end up being ranked where they are, especially for linemen at the end of the draft. There we go, man. Let's go Jordan Williams out of Georgia Tech. All right, so there's the second mock draft is done. We addressed the needs that I said we had: 2 corners, 2 tackles, 2 defensive tackles, 2 offensive guards, and a safety. We addressed that and got some more. What I'm really impressed about in this setup is Riley Leonard that we picked up at 155. I like Tua. Don't get me wrong. I do. I like Tua. I think he's a good quarterback. And just because I grabbed Riley Leonard where I did doesn't mean that I want him to start over Tua. I don't. But I want to continually add quarterbacks every draft. Grab one from the 5th to 7th round every year. And you never know what you're going to wind up with. You could find gold. Riley Leonard has the ability to be a good quarterback at this level, at the NFL level. He just needs to show it. Let's give him a chance. Plug him in at number 3 and see what happens. So, with this draft, we got Jahdae Barron right off the bat, cornerback out of Texas. Then I managed to get my favorite player in the draft, Walter Nolan, defensive tackle. We got Deion Walker right after him at pick 100. Kobe Bryant out of Kansas at 116. Those first 4 picks, I guarantee you, if we ended up with a pick list like this for our first 4 picks, I mean, this is great. I would be ecstatic if we ended up with these 4 players out of the draft in our first 4 picks. R.J. Mickens, the safety out of Clemson. I'm happy with that. Luke Kandra, I tell you what, anytime Luke Kandra is available and it makes sense for the draft pick we're at, I'm taking him. He's a good guard. He'll translate well. He will be a contributor on this team if we end up getting him. Riley Leonard, like I said, happy with that. We got a quarterback that has some intangibles and some ability. Got an arm on him, somewhat accurate. You know, that's one of his faux pas. I like Riley Leonard. I think that would be a good addition. Jeffrey Bassa, another one of those players that I think, even though he's rated low, he has a chance to be a great contributor on this team, on any team, just because of his ability on the field. Raheem Sanders, running back out of South Carolina, good in the zone scheme. I think this would be a good addition for Miami. And Jared Christian Lichtenhand, he's an offensive tackle out of Oregon State. A lot of people don't watch any Beavers football. I've watched a few games I used to play college football in Oregon, so the Beavers and the Ducks games I like to watch a lot of. Christian Lichtenhand is a good tackle. I don't know why he's ranked so low. I I don't think I've ever seen him bomb a play, but whatever. Good, strong German dude. I'd like to have him on the team, so I grabbed him. Jordan Williams, offensive tackle out of Georgia Tech, obviously rounding it out with a tackle, with an offensive lineman. We need linemen, defense and offense, and you're going to see most of my mock drafts. That's what I'm focusing on mostly. Obviously, we need cornerback. We got a couple really good cornerbacks too in this draft. Let's restart and look at it again. Let's see what happens if that ends up, if that first round shenanigans happens again. The first round shenanigans on this draft simulator have been nuts. Let's look at it. Here we go. Yep, more shenanigans. Okay, hang on a second. Let me look at this now. Holy crap. Ashton Janty and Jordan Shedeur Sanders are both available at pick 13 again. Holy crap. And Shamar Stewart's there too. And Matthew Golden. What is going on with this draft simulator? Holy cow. That's insane. They had Membu going to the Raiders. I don't see that happening. Look, I'll almost bet anybody a Buffalo nickel right now that Membu is going to be a Jet come draft day, but we'll see. Will Johnson and Will Campbell are both gone. The Campbells are out. That's interesting. All right, so here we are looking at this. We are literally going to skip, man. Derek Harmon's there again. I still think Derek Harmon is a great pick. Jahdae Barron's available too, just like last time. Malachi Starks. Since we picked Jahdae Barron for one of my drafts, we started with the cornerback, and since the first mock draft I did on this live stream, I chose Derek Harmon right off the bat. Let's go Malachi Starks or Nick Emenwari. What do you guys think here? Nick Emenwari or Malachi Starks? Which one would you guys go with here? Because, I mean, I think they would both be great picks for sure. Kind of unsure as to which one, since we're going to go safety this time for the first round pick. Oh, man. Okay. We're gonna go Malachi Starks here at safety. We'll do a safety first this time. Let's see what we wind up with. I am not trading for 2026 picks because that doesn't do anything different for me right now in this draft. It likely could be something that the Dolphins end up doing. What in the world is going on? At pick 48, Emenwari is still available. I am not going Emenwari. I can't. What I am going to do is, this is pretty obvious, and I don't have much of a choice. Siobhan Revel is an amazing cornerback, and we would be lucky to have him available at 48. We're going to snag him. That's a no-brainer to me. Might not be the same for everybody else, but for me, Siobhan Revel at 48 is a steal. I'm going to reject that trade offer. Both of those are garbage. Figures the Jets would offer something trashy to us. Shamar Turner is available at defensive tackle. I think that would be fantastic. And Charles Grant out of William & Mary, the offensive tackle, is available as well. Oh, I think we're going to have to go defensive tackle here. Shamar Turner. Doing it. 116 for the 120, and we gain pick 167. We're going to take that. We're going to take that. Yep. Okay. So now we're sitting here. We are at pick 120. And Miles Frazier is available. We're taking him. That's easy. Some of these are just such no-brainers. If they're available, we take them. Simple. Plain and simple. Jordan Phillips is available too. That's going to be tough to pass on. That's going to be real tough to pass on. Yep, we're doing Jordan Phillips. Doing it. Another Phillips for our defense. Got to have it. can't believe Jamari Caldwell's still available too. Dylan Gabriel sitting there. There's Riley Leonard again. Luke Kandra is available. I told you guys, if he's showing up anywhere near the top at any of these picks that we have, I'm taking Luke Kandra. It's a no-brainer. Luke Kandra could be a starter on this team immediately. No way around that. So we've got a couple guards. We've got a couple defensive tackles. We got a cornerback and a safety already. Really, according to my list, the only thing we desperately need on top of that is one more cornerback. And looking at this, it's not something that's going to be, because we have pick 155 as well, and there are no cornerbacks even close right now. Noel Williams is available, but he's scheduled for 167. I don't see him going away, so we could probably grab him down the way a little bit. So for 155, I really think that we could be looking for something different. We could go R.J. Harvey. Let's see. R.J. Harvey wouldn't be a bad idea. Dylan Gabriel, like I said, is still there at quarterback. Kyle McCord is available too. Let's go Kyle McCord. Let's take Kyle McCord there. Get our quarterback in the 5th. Like I always say, 5th to 7th round, get a quarterback. You never know what's going to happen there. Now, Jamari Caldwell's still sitting there. What is going on? We're at pick 167, and Jamari Caldwell's still sitting there. Good grief. That's nuts. Oh, man. Let's go Zoff Frazier. So now we have, not with the rest of these picks, we have 3 left, 224, 231, and 253. These picks can be other things, not necessarily D tackles, safeties, corners, and offensive guards. They could be if we want to, but they don't have to be. And like I said, here's Jeffrey Bassa again. I told you guys, if Jeffrey Bassa is at the top of the list and he's available to us and it's our pick, I'm taking him. He's one of those players that I like a lot in this draft, and I'm not necessarily looking always at which round they're scheduled to go in, but I'm looking at the player themselves. Jeffrey Bassa could be a contributor on this team right off the bat. Guaranteed. Oh, Willie Lampkin's available too. We're taking Willie Lampkin. All right, so now we have our guards taken care of, our defensive tackles, a couple good contributors there. We have a couple cornerbacks that I think could work out well for us. We have our quarterback that we needed, our good old quarterback 3. Here's some options here now. We have Craig Woodson at safety from California. Would be a good addition to the team. I also like Nick Martin. Oh, man. We could also look for a wide receiver here. There's Ja'Cory Brooks again. We're taking Ja'Cory Brooks. That's easy. That's that big playmaker I was talking about. The big guy has that big go deep availability. Good hands, big long catch radius, wide. I mean, he's a big guy, and he's got a little bit of speed. So there we are. 11 picks again, and all the stuff that we needed to grab, we grabbed. We addressed the situations and the needs on the team and still managed to go pretty close to BPA. I didn't reach for these players. So the whole point of this is we're looking at these picks, and we have especially that 13th pick. And this is assuming, because I didn't really come across any trade offers for that 13th pick that would have been really advantageous for us to go with. So with that 13th pick, I did a draft where I picked a cornerback first. I did a draft where I picked a safety first. And I did a draft where I picked a defensive tackle first. And in all those situations, the players still worked out, and the draft board still worked out enough for us to wind up covering all the needs we have pretty decently. and still had 1, 2, 3, 4 picks that we could do whatever we wanted with. I mean, we should be encouraged by the opportunities from this draft. The way things are going in this draft, we should be available to. We should have the ability to do some things that are a little bit less risky and more geared towards success for this team. I don't see a lot of ways where Chris Grier could really screw this up. Now that I've said that, watch it happen. Watch Chris Grier royally screw this draft up. But we have the ability to make this work. And there's more ways for this to be successful for Miami than there is ways for it to be a failure. A 5-year-old could do this draft for Miami and be successful. So hopefully that ends up being a reality. Hopefully Miami can make this work. They don't have to go with a certain pick in that first round. I just showed that. There's things they can do in multiple different ways and still be successful. But will they do it? I don't know. That I just don't know. Plenty of opportunities here in this draft. Plenty of good players that will contribute immediately to this team available at certain spots, no matter how we start the draft off. Whether we go cornerback or safety or defensive tackle. I really don't think going guard in the first 2 picks is really worthwhile. I think that the availability of guards and tackles for offense in the later rounds, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, and 6th, and 7th round, I think with that availability, there's not much need for us to go offensive guard in the first 2 rounds. We have other needs that we really need to hit with those first 2, especially those first 2 draft picks. And ideally, if it was me, I would get a cornerback and I would get a defensive tackle in those first 2 rounds. Me personally, one of each of those in the first 2 rounds. I'm not really concerned about which way we go with the first pick and the second pick, but if we get a defensive tackle in the first round, we should probably go cornerback in the second round. If we get cornerback in the first round at pick 13, then we should be looking defensive tackle in pick 48 in the second round. That's where I'm at with it. Like I said, that's three drafts that we just knocked out of the park pretty quickly and pretty easily. Should we do one more? Let's do one more. Just one more. Let's do one more. Okay. Restart this bad boy. Let's see if the crazy shenanigans happen again for the 4th time with Pro Football Sports Network's mock draft simulator. I will say it's nice that there's not a bunch of pop-ups for it. That's pleasant. Okay, this right here. They want the 116th pick, but they want to give us the 50th, and they want to take and give us. This is worth it to me. Yeah, we're gonna take this. We're gonna take this offer. Let's see what the other ones are first. They want the 13th and the 26th, 90, and 101. I think the Rams trade is a better offer. Oh. As far as the 2026 picks, that's a bonus. It doesn't really help us at all. But the 25th pick and the 58th pick for the 13th, that's right on the cusp of what I was saying I would like to have happen. Let's see what happens if we accept that one. All right, pick 25. They're already trying to do something with this. Holy cow. I'm not going to trade out of pick 25. I just wanted to see what they were. Okay. So we have Emin Worry still sitting there. Walter Nolan still sitting there. Okay, so this is a me personally pick. I'm going Walter Nolan with 25. I am not taking that pick, or I'm not taking either one of those. Okay, so our 25th pick was Walter Nolan, the extremely versatile defensive tackle. Can play every position from the 0 technique to the 5, all up and down the defensive line. It's a fantastic first pick. Now we're sitting here at pick 48. and we've got some options. I think Xavier Watts is probably Trey Amos. We're going Trey Amos. Yep. I am rejecting that offer. All right. So, like I said, defensive tackle and cornerback should be addressed. The first 2 picks for us. I did just that. Walter Nolan at 25 and Trey Amos at 48. You can't get much better than that. That's fantastic. And now we're looking down at this. And, Andrew Makuba is available. We're taking him. Okay. So with that, we've got a defensive tackle, we've gotten a cornerback, and we've got a safety. And we've gotten not just those players, but they're good players. Makuba is a beast. That guy can hit. He is a ball seeker. I love that. And that's the first one where I've been able to snag him. All right, so we're sitting here. We've addressed a lot of things. Dylan Fairchild is available. We're taking him at the 98. Absolutely. We are... that's tempting. Let's accept that. That's tempting. We just gained another draft pick. And we are going to... we're going to accept this too. Okay, so we give them our 135 and they give us the 136. That doesn't make much of a difference for us, especially the way this is looking. But they get the 253 and we get the 206. That's a good one. We're going to take that as well. We're going to reject that. Okay. So we got a lot of picks coming up here. And we got a couple extra ones for next year. A 4th round and a 2nd. This draft is working out way, way good. All right. Now, I think here we really we've got to do it. We got to go Jordan Phillips here. Yeah. Jordan Phillips on the board. Not anymore. We've taken him. And now with two picks later, we have another pick. We're gonna go Corey Black, cornerback out of Oklahoma State. All right. Now, there's a lot of good players here. Luke Kandra is available. I told you we're taking Luke Kandra every chance we get. So, we have grabbed 2 defensive tackles, 2 offensive guards, 2 cornerbacks, and a safety. So right now we have addressed the main needs of this team. What I said we needed to get, absolutely. Now we can kind of look a little more optimistically at what's available. We've got the 150, the 155, the 206, and the 224. Oh, R.J. Harvey's looking really good right about here. Oh, man. Q Robinson's there, too. We're going to go Q Robinson, definitely. And now we're sitting at pick 155. Riley Leonard's there. This is where we're going to grab our quarterback, Riley Leonard, at the end of the 5th. Now we're into the 7th round. We got a couple here. Let's go Taj Brooks, running back from Texas Tech. And we'll go Ty Hamilton for sure. That's not even something I need to think about. Ty Hamilton. Bing, bang. Pick 231 is our last pick. Kobe King, linebacker. Yep, there we go. That should be it. So that's an interesting one. That's 12 picks that we wound up with, and we gained 2 picks for the 2026 season, a 2nd and a 4th. That'll be huge. Walter Nolan and Jordan Phillips are the two defensive tackles and Ty Hamilton. So we got 3 defensive tackles. We've got a safety, Andrew Makuba, a beast out of Texas. And we got Trey Amos, cornerback. And we got Corey Black for our cornerback picks. We got Dylan Fairchild and Luke Kandra, our 2 offensive guard picks. We got Riley Leonard for our QB3. Q Robinson picked at 150, an edge rusher from Alabama. That'll be huge. What a great player to have, to be able to sit back and learn from this edge rushing room that we have. That's incredible. Taj Brooks would be awesome. Kobe King and Ty Hamilton. This is a great draft. Point is this is doable. This is more than doable. It's simple. I like what I'm seeing on the draft board show up as we go through this. I'm encouraged. We should all be encouraged. We have things to look forward to in this draft. It doesn't, like I said, you'd have to be an absolute moron to screw this draft up. You look at those 4 needs we have: cornerback, interior defensive tackle, guard, and safety. You look at those needs, you could grab one of any of those in the first round and we would still be okay. Literally all he needs to do, Chris Greer, is just make the list of what he needs and then look at the availability in the draft as it runs down the line. Pick off the top of the list, man. It's not that hard. This is a simple thing to run through. This draft works out perfectly for Miami. It's hard to be hopeful and not be jaded as Dolphins fans. I totally get it. But it's not impossible. So Dolphins fans, stay hopeful if you can. I know it's hard. I'll be on Monday or Tuesday with the players existing on our team, what we need from the players on our team, who needs to step up and take that next step and that next evolution into an NFL player, a quality NFL player, a contributor. Who needs to make those steps? We'll talk about all that on Monday or Tuesday. In the meantime, thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for watching. Throw a like down. If you're new to the channel, subscribe.